Alright, so ever since we are now in the Multiverse Saga now, and even the projects that have come out and what we can look forward to in the future of the MCU is especially for the Kevin Feige, Bob Iger, the CEO of Disney, and the rest of Marvel Studios that plan for their slate and their game plan, and especially for how to end this new phase, the Multiverse Saga, with a bang, and there's so much more. And so in this video, I'm going to be breaking down what happened to the MCU's Multiverse Saga, and even talk about the cancellation of MCU projects, especially coming from the CEO of Disney, and talking about like how it can all come together in the Kane Dynasty and Secret Wars. And there's just so much more to talk about, especially for the MCU's future and how it can shape up to be a great movie franchise as well. And so if you're new here, then be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on any future videos. But now, let's just hop into it. And so ever since the MCU launched with Phase 1 through 3, every MCU fan has showed up to that every MCU movie that opening weekend, and that was an event for a lot of people, especially as the MCU came out with bangers back then, and even with Captain the Winter Soldier and Guardians of the Galaxy were awesome movies that year. And then it all came together in Infinity War and Endgame, and just like ended with a bang. And now with this new phase, Phase 4 through 5, and that like launched maybe because that's what we're in right now with the Multiverse Saga. That with the Phase 4 that kicked off with Disney Plus shows with the WandaVision, the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, Loki, What If, Hawkeye, and even Moon Knight and Miss Marvel and She-Hulk, and just like so much more. And just even with those projects that were not liked by a ton of people and not well received. I mean, I definitely enjoyed some of it, especially as WandaVision and Loki are my favorite MCU and Disney Plus shows. But even with the newer ones and how it's going to connect into the future of the Multiverse Saga, especially for this new Avengers team, and that like Marvel is sort of going to be putting together and introducing new characters, and now and especially with people that like don't have Disney Plus and that I don't have time to catch up with every single MCU and Disney Plus show that comes out, and for how it's going to connect to each and every movie. It's going to vaguely surprise us and connect to the future of the MCU moving forward, and even for how that started out, it started with Disney Plus shows, but like now, ever since Marvel gone like quantity over quality, it's like the opposite of that, and like especially when they were spending themselves out too thin and just putting out too much. And now with the fans that have complained about every MCU project that's put out, or simply gotten burned out by the biggest movie franchise, and now that's all we're left with, and how how can possibly shape up to be a better movie franchise, especially with the MCU and Disney Plus shows that were not well received by fans, and even with Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, Thor: Love and Thunder, Secret Invasion, Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, and that was teasing Kang the Conqueror, this time-menacing villain. And like even though that like we're probably gonna see Kang move forward, even though that we're not gonna see a Jonathan Majors play this villain because he has been found guilty and like fired from Marvel Studios. But like even with, from one we can count on it, especially as everyone hated Secret Invasion, but even with Loki season 2, that like laid the groundwork, laid the future of the MCU, especially with the Multiverse Saga and with the Secret Wars. And now that anything can happen, especially near towards the end of Loki season 2, and so especially with the upcoming things that we have, especially with Cap: A Brave New World, and I think with those other projects, and like even with the X-Men that are coming into the MCU. But I think with Marvel that has come out and say that they're going to reduce the amount of projects that they're putting out for quality over quantity. Moving on to my next point is that even with the recent report that has come out like days ago with Bob Iger, the CEO of Disney, has announced that Marvel Studios is not moving forward with these projects, and that's for Eternals 2 and then night with Ant-Man 4 or Captain Marvel 3, and like especially with Eternals 2, and that has sort of been quietly in development for like a while now. but I'm not sure if it's going to even happen anymore. It's because even as we look at Marvel's entire slate, especially from the beginning of the Multiverse Saga and how it's going to wrap up and conclude with the Kane Dynasty and Secret Wars, but I think with like Eternals 2, I could be explored more for what the first Eternals movie left off, especially with those post-credit scenes, especially at T's Blade, Black Knight, especially with the Midnight Suns, and there's like so much more, and because even with like because I would not consider having another Ant-Man movie because even with Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, that was somehow not well received and it lost out on a ton of money at the box office. But even with Captain Marvel 3 and even with the Marvels, that was the first MCU's box office flop. But even with the rest of it, and even well those upcoming projects that are suddenly like in development but are going into filming, but we haven't heard any updates about those projects, especially from insiders or anyone over at Marvel. And even with Armor Wars, which I'm the least excited about, especially after Secret Invasion, from the way that they handle Rhodey, and even with Ironheart and like a Wakanda Disney Plus series with Okoye, and just so much more. But I feel like with these cancellations, I think this could be a good thing, because even with that is preventing Marvel from spreading themselves out too much. Even with the post-credit scenes that have not been touched upon or haven't given any updates about when we're gonna hear something, especially with the follow-up to like those movies, like with Multiverse of Madness, Thor: Love and Thunder, especially with Shang-Chi, and I'm pretty sure we should be expecting like Shang-Chi 2, and we haven't gotten any updates on that, but I'm pretty sure Dustin Daniel Cretton is definitely coming back to direct that movie with Simu Liu, Aquafina returning, and I'm pretty sure we're gonna get that sometime soon, probably in Phase 5 or 6 or whatever the case might be, but I'm pretty sure that they're working hard on it. But even with those post-credit scenes that have been left untouched, and Marvel Studios and the MCU are not gonna like follow up on that, but I'm pretty sure they will. It's because even like for how this is all gonna tie into the next two big Avengers movies, and even with Secret Wars, and it's gonna be a big movie event, and so especially as they're teasing the X-Men and they're coming into the MCU, and I hope they follow up on those big events they left untouched. And now, with the last point that I want to touch upon is how this will all come together in the Kane Dynasty and Secret Wars. Even with the Kane Dynasty, that's no longer going to be the title, it's just going to be called Avengers 5, and whatever Marvel Studios has up their sleeve, I think there will be a new king, just not played by Jonathan Majors, and even with some other actors that are up in the running with Coleman Domingo, like he's in the running as a candidate, and even for how they're going to conclude this, that remains another mystery. Avengers movie that's going to lead into Secret Wars, and even with reports that have come out that Secret Wars might be split into two movies, with the Secret Wars Part 1 and Secret Wars Part 2, and even with the Kane Dynasty, that's probably gonna have Kane because he's the focus antagonist, but will not be played by Jonathan Majors, as I mentioned before. But even like we're having assembled a new Avengers team, and now lead into the other thing of events, so where they lose, and that it'll all come together in a Secret Wars. That's supposed to be like a big event. Well, the multiverse characters and variants of iconic MCU characters that we all know and love, and it's essentially going into a reboot after Secret Wars, and that's something that we're all expecting from Marvel Studios. And it's gonna be the iconic goodbye to all the MCU stuff, especially from the Infinity Saga and the Multiverse Saga with the movie franchise that we all know and love. And even with the X-Men that are coming in and start up the Mutant Saga, and that should be a fun time near the future with Phase 7, 8, 9, and possibly 10. But even what Marvel has up their sleeve, I'm pretty sure they're gonna end this franchise and end the Multiverse Saga with a bang, especially with everything that we know about the multiverse. And on top of that, with the X-Men that are coming into the MCU with the Mutant Saga and how the MCU is going to introduce them, because we already have the word of mutants mentioned in the MCU with Kamala Khan, with Miss Marvel, but even with the X-Men that are coming, that's going to be a big deal for how they're going to lay the groundwork for that. And even with Deadpool and Wolverine, it's going to be an insane movie with Deadpool and Wolverine and teaming up together and changing the MCU's multiverse forever. It's going to lead into the Kane Dynasty and be a huge setup for the next two Avengers movies. So that's going to be a big deal moving forward. And for what I mentioned, and the whole point of this video is of what happened, but I think Marvel Studios is like definitely laying the groundwork and to send their future plans up for how they could be a better movie franchise. I mean, they took risks at the beginning, especially with the first Iron Man. And I'm pretty sure, like, and even for what Bob Iger said, that they're going to take less risks, but I think they should, especially if they're going to end this big movie franchise, especially the Multiverse Saga, with a bang with Secret Wars, and it's really a big deal. And so, with my final thoughts to kind of wrap all this up, is I'm thinking with like the next few years, especially for how the MCU's next chapter, the Multiverse Saga, is going to end with a bang with the Kane Dynasty and Secret Wars, and like so start off with like a fresh new chapter, especially with this reboot that is on the way, and for how that's gonna lay the groundwork for the X-Men, the new live action X-Men team that are coming into the MCU, and it's gonna be a fresh start, and even for Marvel Studios, it's planning, especially for the next few years, and even well those other projects I do have coming up. I'm pretty sure we'll get excited and come back to the theaters again, especially like the old days with the Infinity Saga and so much more as well. And so that's going to be it for this video. And just let me know your guys' thoughts in the comments down below, and what thoughts on all this, what are your thoughts on everything that has happened in the Multiverse Saga so far, and if you think that the next chapter of the MCU is going to end with a bang, and just let me know in the comments. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe and turn on notifications about future videos. Also follow all my social medias, which are linked down below. And with that, I'll see y'all in the next video. Peace.